transport and technology here at the Riverside Museum in Glasgow.
My name is Alastair Callaghan, and I'm a curator at Glasgow Museums. I'm based here at the Kelvingrove Museum.
I travel from Maine to Mexico just to find a little girl that loves me so. No matter where I'll be, I'm looking for a woman that'll satisfy me. Have a love.
I think people like the Riverside Museum because it's not just a technical place. It does feature people's stories. It's one of the things that when we were building this museum, our visitors said, we want to know the faces and the names behind these trams, behind these prams and cars and motorbikes. Tell us what it was like to build them or to drive them or to crash in them, indeed. And we focused very much our research on trying to find those people, trying to find their photographs, their personal stories. If they're still alive, trying to interview them. But if it's from antiquity or 100 and 200 years ago, we went back through diaries, through newspaper accounts, and trying to bring those real-life stories to the front of all our displays. And I think that's why people can relate to the displays in the museum.
Kelvingrove is an amazing building. Since 1901, when it was first opened, it's been a venue that's catered for the citizens of Glasgow and really focusing upon exhibitions and events that really cater for the city. So in the Kelvingrove Museum in Art Galleries, there's 22 themed exhibits and over 8,000 items in the collections here. And that ranges from Dutch and Flemish art to Scottish history to natural history, arms and armour, world cultures. It's a really varied place. And I think that's a big part of the appeal. It's one of the most visited museums and galleries in the country. And it's a venue which is free for admission, there's no charge. And it really is a favourite for Glaswegians and tourists alike coming to the city, and I think it's a real attraction in that way.
We have quite a mixed bag for a transport museum. We have exhibits that look at the kind of traditional heavy engineering, so locomotives and ship models, but all the way down to push bikes, prams, scooters. Being as part of Glasgow Museums, we can offer a very big and wide selection of displays and objects, from paintings, natural history, archaeology, social history, and of course transport technology. We have a recreated Glasgow street, which time period is around 1890 to 1930. It's called Main Street. We had a recreated museum street in the old building, and it was loved by our public. It was the #1 exhibit. So when we moved here, we asked our public, what would you like in the new building? And they said, we want a new street. So it gives us the opportunity to show off a couple of our larger transport objects, cars and lorries and horse-drawn vehicles. But the shops in the street kind of give a context of what the city was like at that time. There's of course a subway station. Glasgow had the 3rd oldest subway in the world, but there's an Italian ice cream cafe, there's a cobbler's, a pawn shop, a pub. So people get kind of very much an immersive experience going through that street.
The Kelvingrove has so much to offer. So I think in one visit, to be able to explore and to make the most of everything, you really do want to come back and see what there is that you've missed. As well as that, we're constantly changing our galleries. We've got a temporary exhibition space, which currently has animal mummies on display. Before that, we've had Hatching the Past exhibition about dinosaurs. We've had exhibitions relating to football in the city, so that's constantly changing every 3 months. One of the real collection highlights is St. John the Cross by Salvador Dali. That is a much loved painting of the city, and it has its own space for contemplation in the gallery, and we get a lot of visitors coming especially for that. For me personally, the 1944 Spitfire is a beautiful thing hanging over the gallery spaces, so that's definitely worth checking out, and that gets a lot of interest from the aeronautical freaks out there.
If you were to come to Glasgow, there's some fantastic sights to see. There's some great things here on the river. There's actually the Riverside Museum, there's the Science Centre. It's a great place to walk up and down into the city centre. We have loads of fantastic parks like Kelvingrove and Pollock Park. Museums, Glasgow has one of the best civic collections of objects in the world. So you can go to art museums, social history museums, modern art museums.
For me, coming to the city or with friends coming to the city, I would absolutely make sure you check out the Botanic Gardens. That's an amazing place to see, especially on a beautiful day like this. And along that, the River Kelvin, there's beautiful river walks. In the evening, Ashton Lane's a great place to gather, meet your friends, meet your family, to get a drink, get a lovely meal. It's lovely cobbled lanes, and it's got a really nice energy and ambience about it.